menstruation is a physiological activity. It makes us a mini god to some extent. As a woman, you are not immune to it. Even though I see a lot of people taking vitamin K in order to prevent menstruation. Somebody like me growing up, I was not allowed to use pads. Okay. There is so many fetish belief about pad, that when you use pad, you dispose it, someone else is gonna pick it, use it for, diabolic activity. They even go as far as blocking your vagina. Aside pad and tampons, there are other options that are readily available for us to use. Options like cloth pads, menstrual cups. We have reusable period pants, using layers of clothes. The general pros and cons of reusable products. First, they are environmentally friendly, and then secondly, they are affordable, even though the initial investment might be higher. Do your menstruation with pride. Don't let anybody talk down on you. If you experience period poverty, speak up. We have IGEs here to help you.
Hello, and welcome back to the Talk No One Talks About, where I bring you bits and pieces of all the uncomfortable conversations you don't get anywhere else. Today, we'll be discussing pads and tampons. What menstrual product options do we have? I'll not be doing this alone, of course. I have a nurse, a midwife. We'll be here discussing what other menstrual products we have and what's accessible to people and how people react to them. So please tell us your name, Victoria, and what you do in a tiny detail.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Nurse Victoria Progress Echeta. I'm a registered nurse. I work with General Hospital, Kafinkoro to be precise.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're here to talk pads, not just pads, periods, but in relation to how we navigate them, what products we use to navigate them. So I want to know, and I'm sure everyone is wondering, what are other options besides the popular pads and tampons?
Okay, so basically, aside pad and tampons, there are other options that are readily available for us to use. Options like reusable menstrual product like cloth pads, menstrual cups. We have reusable period pants, and then we also have reusable, maybe like using layers of clothes. To
like improvisation.
Yes, to tackle periods. So I think these options can go a long way. Aside pad and tampons, it must not necessarily be pad and tampons.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course. So, what would you say are the pros and the cons of reusable products and like stuff like the menstrual cup?
Okay, so
So we can start with the pros first, and we get to the cons.
So talking about pros and cons of menstrual product. To me, I think is individualized, because what is my pro can be your con, you get. But to me, I think the general pros and cons of reusable products is first, they are environmentally friendly. You get, reusable product will minimize the risk of waste products and all of that. And then secondly, they are affordable. Even though the initial investment might be higher, reusable product can be used for a very long time. Like they can be used multiple times.
So when we say higher, what do we mean?
Like the initial investment might cost a lot to some people, to some persons. You understand? Imagine a granite seller getting a reusable pad of 2,000 naira. That is a lot
for one single one.
Yes, that is a lot for her. Even though she's gonna use it multiple times, that initial investment might cost her a lot.
Yeah, and you can't start with just one. Yeah, because when you change, you have to wear something
Yes,
while you
exactly.
clean it up for the next
Exactly.
one.
So one is impossible. So you need at least 3.
Mm-hmm.
You get, depending on your kind of flow, you get.
Yeah.
So, and then thirdly, they are eco-friendly. You get, reusable products are eco-friendly. You know, they are kind of, they are easily, they are accessible, and you can use them multiple times. So to some extent they are eco-friendly.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So when you say when you bring in the economic factor, are we discussing it as a pro or as a con? Because I think it can be both. Because I realize that when we buy stuff in unit prices, it's actually more expensive than
Yeah.
buying stuff in bulk,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
if is it like a pro?
It's
Like,
a pro,
but it's also a
it's
con
just,
to
yes,
certain
to
people.
some extent.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Mm.
So, and then some of the cons of reusable product is, firstly, the hygienic nature of it. Usable product need constant cleaning and maintenance.
Yeah.
You get, I have a friend that when she used this reusable product, like the cloth pads,
Yeah.
she washes it, she press it, she even go as far as freezing it. Yes, because is, in medicine, it's
To
in
freeze to kill the germs.
microbiology. You said?
To kill the germs.
Yes, some germs, some bacteria die at 100 degrees centigrade, while some die at 0 degrees centigrade. So she go as far as freezing it,
Yeah.
after pressing it. So you see, it's a lot to some persons.
Yeah.
It's a lot to some persons, the stress of, doing all of that, So the cleaning and maintenance, is a lot. So it's one of the con, like the hygienic nature of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So, and then secondly, the initial investment is unaffordable to some persons to some extent, because the initial investment costs a lot.
Yeah.
You get.
I also think that can be a pro. I mean the management, because to be honest, for people who use pads like factory or the regular pads, right? There's been issue of like rashes based off the products that I use. I know that brands like Always were like in court for.
I actually know where you are heading to, but I tell you of a truth, is a big problem for some persons.
No, of course, definitely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned earlier, what's a
Yeah.
con for someone can be a pro for someone else, right?
Exactly.
So, at the end of the day, we are trying to guide people to find what will work for them and what
Yeah.
works for them for good,
Yeah.
right? So, what would you say are barriers that are coming between people's ability to access new products?
Okay, so there are so many barriers that prevent people from accessing new product, especially people like me that are from the rural areas, the underserved community. First is availability. These products are not readily available to us due to so many factors, like the road network factor and so many factors, to be precise, you get. And then secondly is accessibility. Because one thing is to make something available, and the other thing is for people to have the capacity to afford it. You get. So when it's available, is it accessible to us? Some of these menstrual products are very, very expensive.
All now.
You get.
All of them are expensive.
They are very, very expensive. They are not affordable to the common lady. You get, to the common lady here in Nigeria, the underserved community. Because imagine let's say a granite seller buying menstrual product of 2,000 naira per one. And how much is he selling in a day? You get, and these are stuff she need. They really, they need these stuffs for their well-being, because this is something that's happened every month. It's happened concurrently. We are not immune to it. We don't even have control over it.
Yeah.
You get. I've witnessed where a girl that's, I don't know if you know this, we call it garo garo. Those people that sell rice and groundnut oil. You get. I've witnessed where this young lady ran to a particular uncompleted building like this. She was battling with something and I was coming behind her. But one thing I noticed was that I saw blood dripping down. So it caught my attention. I have to move closer. I was like, what is the problem? I need, what is going on? So she was a bit shy.
Embarrassed.
Yes, and embarrassed. So she later opened up to me that she's on her period, is Jinin Haila and all of that, blah blah
Is
blah.
what?
We call it Jinin Haila in
Oh,
Hausa.
okay.
Yeah, there is Jinin Haila and all of that. She started crying. You get. So I was like, then what are you using? She was like, it's just her zeni. She tied layers of wrappers, like 3 wrappers, just to control that. But
Did she tie the wrappers like a napkin?
she did not tie it like a napkin. She just
okay,
layers
so
of
that,
wrappers. You understand? So you see, and I was kind of, why didn't she use any of her product that she couldn't cut any of her wrappers? I don't know if you understand. This is her wrapper, but she couldn't afford cutting it, to make at least a kind of cloth pad and wage the period flow. So you see, the ability to afford this menstrual product is another thing.
Yeah, and that's for someone in a place that's not necessarily, let's say, communities that are
because the focus should be the rural areas.
Yes.
People at the urban settings can easily afford this.
Yeah.
But people at the rural setting cannot afford it. You get. Few of them are available, but they are not affordable.
Yes.
At all. So I think it's high time government and humanitarian organization look into it.
Yeah.
Put more effort in taking these things or serving people that really need it.
Yeah.
You understand? There are so many ways that this stuff can get to them.
Yeah.
Regardless of the
same
distance.
way the election materials gets to them.
You get me?
Yeah. So
Exactly.
what would you say, or how would you say, cultural and religious beliefs inform the kind of period products people use?
Okay. So cultural and social belief can seriously influence product choices. For example, modesty and discretion. You get. Some culture consider menstruation private and personal. You understand? So products that influence modesty may be advised. And in terms of religion, some religion might have restriction. You get towards some products, some menstrual products. You get. So thereby influencing product choices again. Like somebody like me growing up, I was not allowed to use pads.
Okay.
Yes, because there is so many fetish belief about pad, that when you use pad, you dispose it, someone else is gonna pick it, use it for, diabolic activity. They even go as far as blocking your vagina, this and that. So you better know, that fear I grew up with, it hasn't been long. I started using pad.
And now they're your favorite.
Yes. So seriously, religion and culture has a lot to do.
Yeah.
And that is where health education comes in, creating awareness, making people understand that all of that is just a fetish belief. It's not true. Yeah.
So I want to ask something, and you've given me a brief answer previously when you talked about how government and humanitarian organizations should do this. So now I want to ask you, let's say you're at the board to map out how a project or how products like this, right, can get to everyone in a way that makes it accessible, especially to the people like in rural areas, in IDP camps, people who are incapacitated with medical conditions, you're a nurse, right? People who are in the hospitals, who can't afford it, people who are in critical comas. Do people see their periods on comas?
Yes.
So I'm talking all of these people. What would you say are the methods or the ways that these period products can be made accessible to them?
Okay, first of all, to me, I think that is where stakeholders come in. You get. So I think governmental organization and humanitarian organization should find a way of reaching out to people that matters to that, community.
Yeah.
When they do that, they're gonna send representatives to them. They will come. They will definitely answer their request. It is their responsibility to build capacity.
So the stakeholders who send representatives to
no.
the communities, or the communities who send representatives.
Because there are
how
people,
are communities doing that when they don't know that that's a need?
There is the organization will definitely reach out to them.
Okay.
You understand? Tell them their purpose, their aim. You start health educating the leaders first, the community leaders. So the community leaders will now pick out stakeholders. You understand? They will send.
Given our reality in Nigeria, would they look at that as something that can be manipulated for personal gains? Because you go to communities, as someone who has gone to rural communities to do part outreaches, I've spoken to children and students in like secondary schools in rural areas. I see how sometimes the principals are like, so what do you have for us? I have nothing for you. You are not my target audience, right? So if we're focusing on like leaders and saying, oh, you now bring delegates.
Why I'm suggesting leaders is that, Nigeria is not secure to some extent.
True.
So some of these organizations may find it very, very difficult going,
to have access.
Yes, going in there on their own for security reasons. But if by any way or by any chance they can do it themselves, it's something they can do on their own.
Yeah.
But the challenge here is the security aspect of it. Because, there are foreigners there. This is their first time going in there. And, when you see somebody that doesn't belong to a community, that this person doesn't belong to a community. And if this person is somebody that that when you hold this person, you're gonna, a very good amount. You understand? So, Nigeria is not just safe for that at the moment. So that is what I'm suggesting stakeholders. But the best thing could have been them going in themselves to see things for themselves.
That can still work. Yeah, because people go in like that for like polio, immunizations, HIVs and all of that. So I also think that now that we're having this conversation, it kind of opens up my mind to like, I think that the root cause might be that it's not treated like a human problem. So when we talk about stuff like polio, like HIV, because it affects everyone, it's treated like that without emergency and all of that. But because it's a women or like people who select or half of the population problem,
they feel it's a personal problem.
Yes. And so it's like secondary, not exactly primary.
Yeah, that is where social stigma. True. Actually, menstruation is seriously stigmatized in Nigeria. You understand? Menstruation is
especially in those rural areas.
Yes, it's highly stigmatized actually. But however, I think, government and organizations should just, I think if there is more advocacy, they will prioritize it. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been such an exciting, deep conversation. Also, like opening your mind to like different realities and all of that. So I want to ask you for the very last time, or the very last question, would you like to leave our audience with something? What's something that you want to say? What's something that you think that you can leave us with after all that we've just talked about?
One thing I want to leave the audience with is don't let anybody talk down on you. Menstruation is a physiological activity. You understand? It's something we don't have control over. It's something, as a woman, you are not immune to it. Even though I see a lot of people taking vitamin K in order to prevent menstruation, we have some group of persons that usually take vitamin. I won't love to mention them.
Oh no, I want to ask you what I can take to prevent it, because I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Sorry, please. Don't tell me you restored too, because I know some stuff take vitamin
now, this
K.
I have absolutely not heard about. This is new to me. This is new information to us. This is new to us. You people do that? Why did nobody tell me? Me too, I don't want to see periods. Don't be hiding updates.
So, please, we are humans, okay? And we are designed this way. And it's such a honor and a privilege to experience it, because it makes us a mini god to some extent, you get. So please, do your menstruation with pride. Don't let anybody talk down on you. If you experience period poverty, speak up.
How is it making me a mini god?
Here to help you.
how has this made me a mini god now?
It has, because this is something
that means people should worship me.
No,
I mean
no.
But like,
it's a mini god, you understand? Because this is a physiological activity that even science, I know that science have an explanation towards period, but if you look into it deeply, it's still not corresponding to some
No, it's very
extent.
I feel like
You
I feel like
get
the universe conspires. This is a period positive project, so I should not bring my personal bias here. But it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. We are going to have the rest of the conversation off the camera. If you want to hear more,
okay.
come for the next episode.
Okay.
And with that, I would like to say thank you so much for your time.
You're
Please
welcome.
like, subscribe, share, and comment. Tell us
Please, very important.
tell us what you were taking to stop your period. And all of that. So thank you very much. Bye.